I was fixating on what I was leaving behind and not focusing on what I would be walking into. When something is meant for you and it's meant to be, those things will line up perfectly and fall into place. Like, I truly, truly believe that. And it just clicked in my head that I was attaching my identity to this loft, realizing that like I'm my own person. It doesn't matter where I live. Where I live doesn't change who I am. How beautiful or ugly or whatever the place that I live in looks or is or feels, that doesn't change who I am. Are you ready for puppuccino? Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Gotta plug you guys in. I wasn't prepared for this. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to a Sunday chat X vlog hybrid. This is gonna be like in those Disney shows, like when the shows would overlap, you know, those episodes. It's kind of like that, but more exciting. So the first half of this video is going to be a chat. I'm here in my car because I didn't know. I've been so like nervous plus excited to kind of tell you guys this story and share this very, very big life update news with you all. And for some reason, whenever I have those things to do, I get nervous, I put off filming it, I like want it to be perfect. And to combat that, I tell myself, just go in your car, Zoey, because there's nothing more conversational and I guess like intimate and just casual, which is really all this has to be, than sitting in the car. I love watching vlogs that are super chatty, at home, wherever, but there's something about the car. So here we are. I went to Starbucks and got a matcha latte. I had a gift card, so that's why I went to Starbucks, and I tried to bring Maggie in and they were like, what are you doing? Like, there's no dogs allowed in here. So I had to wait outside. They were really nice and they brought my order outside. Maggie is going to town on her puppuccino. I think she dropped it. Did you drop it? Oh my God, she dropped it on the side of the seat and I have to get out to go get it. Hold on. Okay, so let's get to the point. I'm moving. I am moving. I am leaving my apartment. I'm still gonna be within Montreal, and not only am I moving, but I am moving in with my boyfriend, with JS. And not only am I moving in with JS, but I'm also moving into an office. So many changes are about to arise in my life. I have known about this or I've been in the process of this since the new year, since I want to say a couple days into the new year. I've been in the process of figuring out this move, finalizing this move, and I just didn't want to say anything on camera until it was all final. But let me tell you, this was eating away at me, both in just my personal life, but also here on YouTube, because I felt like I was keeping this kind of secret and I felt like I couldn't be fully honest because I couldn't tell you everything that was on my mind when so much of what was on my mind was related to this move. And I want to sit down in this video, and that's why it's going to be kind of like a Sunday chat. I want to sit down and go through my entire thought process with you and all of the things that I thought about and went through, because moving in with a significant other, to me at least, is a really, really big deal. Moving is a really big deal. I'm so attached to my current apartment. So it wasn't a decision I took lightly, and I just thought it could be interesting for you guys. Like, I love listening to people just like ramble about their thought processes. So I'm going to take you guys through the whole story of how I figured out that I'm moving, how I decided to move, where am I going, what's with this office, like the whole thing. So are you ready? Should we get into it? I wrote down some notes on my phone. And the vlog part of this video, we're going to go to Ikea tonight. JS and I are taking our first trip to Ikea as like a couple who lives together, as roommates. So we're doing that tonight. So we're gonna take you guys along. So, oh my God. You gonna help me tell the story? Okay, so I guess let's just start with, I have been living in my current apartment, the loft that you guys have seen throughout all of my videos, really like all of the videos on my channel, I've been living there. I pretty much started my channel like in Australia, and then I came back and I moved into that apartment. And that was in 2019. That was in the summer of 2019. So like 3.5 years ago. I was 22. I was about to start my first job, and moving into that apartment was the most magical experience, the most perfect experience that I could have asked for. It was a dream come true. And so I was so aware when I was moving in that I was living out my dream, and that everything that I had worked for, everything that I had wished for was all coming true. So that apartment is and will always be a very special place to me, because yeah, it's where I started this new chapter of my life. It's basically where I started my like true adulthood, not being a student anymore. So yeah, I love that apartment. JS and I started dating in summer 2021, I think. Like, we've been dating 1.5 years now, so wherever that brings us. And our relationship has been pretty serious from the beginning. Like, when we started dating, I was in a place where I was like, I'm not just gonna date you to date you. Like, I've done the whole dating around thing. Like, I like being single. I like being by myself. So if I'm gonna let someone else into my life, it's because it's serious and I see a future with them. And he was kind of the same way. So we've been like serious from the beginning. However, we both, we're really respectful of everyone needing their own space and wanting their own space, and just not being too codependent on each other, I guess. In May of last year, JS started looking to buy a condo, and he was kind of like, oh, like, I want you to like the place that I get in case we end up living together here. And but in May, like when he ended up finding the condo, we were both pretty clear, like, we're not ready to live together. And I had kind of set this rule for myself of, I don't want to live with someone. I don't want to live with my partner until we are engaged, for a plethora of reasons. The biggest reason, I think, was like, fundamentally, I don't want to rush into living with someone. I want the person that I live with to end up being my life partner, my husband, whatever. I think also I had a very strong fear of moving in together and then breaking up. And I felt like a engagement would kind of avoid any of that trouble, or avoid moving in and realizing that you two don't want the same thing, or that you're not on the same page, or something like that. So I was pretty comfortable with that, and I was like, okay, that's that. As JS and I relationship progressed, actually pretty much from the beginning, we were together at night a lot. So we would always sleep together, like in the same bed. At night, I would go to his house, he would come to my house, and during the day we would separate. He would work from home, I would work from home. And that suited me pretty well. I mean, it does create a certain sense of like, it breaks your routine when you're not sleeping in the same place every night, but it was just what was right. Like, I just really wasn't ready to rush and live together. And also, given what I do for work, which is a lot of filming videos and talking on camera and vlogging, and given what he does for work, which is a lot of being on the phone, we needed a big enough space to accommodate both of our jobs, so that he's not on the phone and I'm filming in the background, and it creates conflict that way. I know like COVID has made it so that a lot of couples have to work and live and do everything under the same roof, and that idea really stressed me out, if I'm being honest. Like, I don't love filming in front of other people, like when it's not vlogging, and so I was just like, oh, I don't know how this is gonna work. And anyway, I guess I'm getting ahead of myself. As time progressed from when he bought that apartment, my wheels started turning, because I knew that at some point he would probably want me to move in. So the wheels started turning in that sense. The wheels started turning also in the sense of like, I really like my apartment, until that wheel stopped. And I would say that wheel stopped in July of last year, like right after my lease kind of renewed. I started having this feeling of like, I don't want to be in this apartment anymore. And it even sort of started before that, because, January of 2021, so January last year, 1 year ago, basically from right now, JS and I were in Florida at his mother's place. And JS's mom she's wonderful for so many reasons, but something that I really admire about her is her interior decorating and her cleanliness, and her just like the way she keeps a home. She keeps a home feeling so calm and serene and clean and clutter-free. And like, she's not a minimalist. She's not like a drill sergeant, but the way she has her home and the way she designs it is so clean that it's so calming. And I remember in Florida feeling so inspired by that because I felt so calm and serene being in her home. And I wanted to bring that feeling back with me to my apartment, whereas my apartment was chaotic and filled with clutter and there was plants everywhere, and it was just like the complete opposite environment that her house is. So I kind of started decluttering and I kind of started becoming a little more minimal with my decor, but there was still, I think, something underlying in that apartment that over time was just not making me happy. And that brings us back to the summer where I just, like, from one day to the next, I was like, I don't want to live here anymore. I want to move. I wanted something smaller. I wanted something brighter, not in terms of window brightness, because my apartment is incredible for window brightness, but just lighter. A lot of the furniture and the walls and just the furnishing, so like the stairs in my apartment are very dark and the kitchen is very dark, and I wanted something brighter and just easier to maintain because my apartment gets so dusty with the loft ceilings. It creates a lot of dust and it's just not the easiest to maintain. So I wanted something different. I started looking for something different and it just didn't make sense to move because I would be moving into the nice places, like the nice places that I would have wanted to move to, even though it's smaller and even though it's, you know, maybe less luxurious, if you could say, than my current apartment, because of the way the rental market has changed, were way more expensive than what I currently pay. And I didn't want to increase my monthly rent payment. If anything, I wanted to decrease it because I was making less money than I used to. So there was that problem. There's also the problem of the dog. So many apartments don't accept pets. And obviously that's a non-negotiable for me. I need to be able to bring my dog with me. So it just didn't work out that I could move. It didn't make sense financially. Anything that was less expensive was in a way different area that I didn't want to move to. Didn't accept pets, or was in a basement, and I didn't want to live in a basement. I've done that before and I hated it. So, okay, I just have to embrace my apartment, and I painted a wall, I changed some furniture, and still I had this unsettled feeling, but I was still pretty adamant that I wouldn't move in with JS. And I think his attitude started changing. He was like, you could move in. And I was like, no. And another big reason was that it just was too small. The layout of his apartment, given that it's a loft, there's no closed doors. So if one of us was filming, if I was filming or he was on the phone, there's really no separation. So I just felt it would be pretty disruptive to both of our careers. Now, this Christmas time, I go home to Ottawa for about a week. And in that week, I am so relaxed. I'm so calm. My clicking jaw goes away. I felt so good. And I mean, that's the power of being home and being with family for you. And we drove back. I drove back to Montreal to come back to my apartment. And I just had this feeling. And I remember telling JS, I was like, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to be in this apartment. I'm not excited to come home to this apartment. I don't look forward to it. I was like, I don't want to be here. I'm forgetting a very important part of the story. Rewind. Before Christmas, I started slightly changing my mind about moving in, where I started thinking I could move in with JS if I could get an office. If I could rent my own office where I could go to work and film, then I would consider moving in with him because I love him so much. I love his apartment, and that would solve the working issue. But when I was looking for offices, they were all so expensive, and he was kind of like, I don't think it makes sense financially for you to get an office and move in here because obviously, like, I'm not going to live with him for free. I would have to pay rent. And given the current situation with interest rates, the rent that I would have to pay it's not nothing. Like, it's somewhat significant. We'll talk about the finances later. So he was like, I don't think it will make sense. So right before Christmas, we finally had like a real serious conversation where I was like, well, how much would you charge me in rent? Like, let's really talk numbers. Let me think about this. Like, let's talk seriously about this if we think it's a possibility. And I'll look at offices and how much they cost, but you need to tell me like how much you would charge me in rent, because I don't want my total monthly cost to go through the roof. Like, if I'm going to move in with you, I would like to save money in some sense. So we started talking about that, and I was like, yeah, I just don't think it's right. And I was still also really holding on to this idea that I needed to be engaged before I move in with my partner. Now back to Christmas, back to coming home and just having this feeling that I didn't want to come home to this apartment. I shared that with JS and he was like, you know what, let's declutter. Let's do a big cleanup and decluttering of your apartment. And so that's what we did prior. I know it's boring, isn't it? That is what we did prior to New Year's. I posted that photo of like all of the stuff that we decluttered. And I don't know if he was being strategic or what, but doing that major declutter got the wheels turning in my head of like, maybe I could move and I do want to downsize. And like, I love him so much. I would love to live with him. I love his apartment. When I go to his apartment, I feel way more stress-free than I do in my current apartment. I feel like I love spending the weekends at his place because I don't think about work and I'm not as anxious and I'm not as stressed as I am in my current apartment. So the wheels start turning. I remember we were sitting upstairs in my bed and he started getting really excited. He was just kind of like, yeah, like it would be so good if you moved in. It would be so good. And I was like, I can't. And not in like this gut feeling like, oh, I can't do it, but just in the feeling of like, I said I was going to do one thing and so I have to stick to that thing. He is looking on Centris, which is a buying and renting properties website. And he pulls up this office because I had kind of said, I was like, listen, if we can find an affordable office that the pricing makes sense, that I live with you and I rent this office, I will consider it. Like, I think that's the right thing to do. That's a decision I feel comfortable with if we can find an office, but like, good luck finding an office. He goes on Centris right there and then, pulls up this gorgeous office, big window, brick wall, all white, old floors, old factory vibes in the perfect area for me. And the price is right. And the price was right. And he goes, look at this. And I got so thrilled. I got so excited. I said, oh, that's my office. That's my office. We have to make it happen. And I said, okay, if I get this office, you know, the pricing all works out, everything will work out, I will move in with you. Getting the office was a whole process, which I feel like I will save for another time because it's just the frustrations of dealing with realtors, to be honest. But I went to visit it. I liked it. I was like, let me think about it. I thought it over, still liked it. I should say I loved it. I really, really loved it. It was really beautiful. It's really perfect for what I need. I even visited a different office to compare that was way smaller, way uglier, and way more expensive. So I was like, okay, this is the right thing. Then I had to notify my landlord, like, hey, I'm thinking of moving. I would be breaking my lease. So I was like, what is the protocol here? And what I didn't realize in the moment and what I'm able to see now is the way everything lined up so perfectly. And when something is meant for you and it's meant to be, those things will line up perfectly and fall into place. Like, I truly, truly believe that. So my landlord was just like, listen, you've been a great tenant. I'm sad to see you go, but no worries, I will figure it out. I will rent the place. Like, you just go when you need to go. So we settled on March 1st as the date that I will leave. I signed my papers to lease this office. It was my first time signing a commercial lease, which was crazy. And that was a super stressful experience. But everything just kind of clicked into place. However, when all of this was happening, I was an anxious mess because I started getting FOMO, or like cold feet, of leaving my apartment because I had to clean my apartment and tidy it up and make it look pristine for the visits and for the realtor to come take photos of the apartment that I was renting. And so of course I prettied everything up. I made it look beautiful. And I looked at the apartment and I was like, oh, I can't leave this place. It's a beautiful apartment. But what I was fixating on what I was leaving behind and not focusing on what I would be walking into, which is another beautiful apartment and a chance to live with someone that I love and my own office. Like, that's so exciting. So I wasn't focusing on the right things, if you will. I think it's normal to kind of go through this like grieving process because not only was I leaving behind that apartment, I was leaving behind everything that that apartment represented, all of the memories inside that apartment, you know, the parties, the friends, the boys. Like, I did so many different things. I lived so many experiences, the jobs. I went through COVID in that apartment, like so many memories in that apartment. And it's scary to kind of leave it behind and say goodbye. I was reading, I'm still in the process of reading The Power of Now, that book. And actually what that book talks about right in the intro, which was like spookily accurate timing, was attaching your identity and your self-worth to material objects or to like land or places. And it just clicked in my head that I was attaching my identity to this loft, and I felt like this loft and this apartment was my apartment. Like even when the realtor came in to take photos, I was getting like territorial. I don't even own that apartment, I'm just renting it, you know, but I felt like it was mine, and I felt like I was losing a part of my identity by giving it away. And so realizing that was extremely liberating, realizing that like I'm my own person. It doesn't matter where I live. Where I live doesn't change who I am. How beautiful or ugly or whatever the place that I live in looks or is or feels, that doesn't change who I am. And so that helped me a lot to be able to let go. And once I let go of this apartment, I went through the grieving stage and I let go. That's when I was able to feel so thrilled, so excited, and realize and reflect that everything clicked into place so perfectly. So that's kind of where I'm at now, where I'm feeling extremely thrilled, extremely grateful, extremely excited. I can't wait to live with JS. It's going to be so much fun. And I know it's going to have its challenges too, but yeah, and I can't wait to have an office, you guys. This is crazy. So yes, welcome to this new journey that we're going to be on together. I'm going to vlog everything. We're going to have like moving content and decorating and furniture and decorating my office. There's just so much to come. I just want to talk about like 2 more things. The first is intuition. I feel like I didn't emphasize enough how much turmoil making this decision gave me. I really hate making decisions. I make a decision and I look back on the old one, and it made me think a lot about breakups, like when you're about to break up with someone and then suddenly you can only see the good in them and you forget the reasons why you want to end that relationship. It was kind of the same. I was like forgetting all of the negative feelings I had towards this apartment. But what guided me and what helped me from going completely insane during this process is my intuition, because I'm getting stronger and stronger and more acquainted with my intuition, if you will. And I know that feeling in my gut where if something's not right, my gut will tell me. If I shouldn't have been moving, my stomach would have been all in knots and it would have been sending me alarm signals saying, you're not meant to go move. Don't do it. And I didn't once have that feeling. I knew I was scared and my intuition was like, you're scared, but you should still do this. Like it was guiding me to make this decision. So it wasn't 100% peaceful. There was turmoil, like I said, but I listened to my intuition and I trusted the universe and everything clicked into place, and that's where we're at now. And I'm so thankful. Now, some of you might be like, Zoey, you said you wanted to get engaged. Does this mean you're getting engaged? I don't think so. I also kind of realized that the reason I wanted to wait for a proposal before moving in was to have a sense of commitment and to know that the person's not going to walk out of your life, and 2, to know that you are on the same page. And I was thinking of a proposal as that, as a sense of commitment, as like a love symbol, and also as a gorgeous piece of jewelry. But what I realized was, 1, someone can walk out of your life at any time. A ring or a piece of paper, a child is not going to stop them, and that's just the sad reality of life. 2, we've discussed, we are committed to each other, and we want to move in the same direction in life, which is so important to me. Like that is the fundamental, most important thing before I move in with someone, is like, are we on the same page here? Like, are we wanting to move into the same direction? Like, this is long term. We want the same things in life. Yes, great. That check, green check for that. But what I didn't think about with a proposal is proposal means wedding. And wedding is a whole thing. And I am not in that chapter of my life yet. I'm not ready for that. So I really realized, like, I'm not ready to be engaged. I'm not ready to be proposed to, or to be a fiance, or to be speaking of JS, I'm not ready for that, but I am ready to live with him. So that is my story. Oh my God, we went on for 30 minutes. I did not mean to ramble this much, but You know that I like to take you along with every single little thought in my head. So we will now transition into the vlog part of this video. I'm about to take some stuff to donation. I also want to go buy new makeup brushes because something that I'm doing is like wanting to not carry old crusty things into my new life. And this is a new life chapter for me. So also, on the note of new life chapter, I want to film a Q&A about living alone. So if you have any questions about like my experience living alone, what it was like, tips, let me know down below in the comments. And when I'm ready to film, I'll post a question box on Instagram as well. So you can wait for that, or you can put them down below and I will answer them. The thing I forgot to say, I wanted to say one more thing. I think part of the reason I started having negative feelings towards my apartment is, like I said, I went through so many positive things there, but I also went through a lot of negative things there, and I went through a lot of negative headspace there. And I don't know, some of you guys are gonna be like, what the heck? And some of you guys are gonna be like 100%. I think there are negative energies from myself, like negative thought spirits from myself trapped in that apartment that keep me anxious and that contribute to these feelings. I truly, truly believe there's bad juju from myself trapped in that apartment. From all of the times that I doubted myself, that I doubted what I was doing, that I doubted my career, that so many times, you guys, like I got that apartment and that was like the definition of lifestyle creep. Like I probably I could afford it, but like barely when I got that apartment. And I always had a sense of guilt, even as life changed and places around got more expensive and whatever, it is what it is. And it was the right apartment for me. I always felt a sense of guilt about living there, that I should have gone smaller, that I should have gone cheaper, that I shouldn't live there. And I think that guilt stuck with me a lot too. And I'm excited to kind of let go of that guilt, even though I don't really have it anymore. It's funny, like as soon as I let go of that guilt, I just wanted to move. So I don't know. Do you guys believe in like those kind of spirits that can come from yourself? Does that make any sense at all? That's that for the Sunday chat portion. Let's cut to the vlog. I'm about to go get my car washed for the first time. There's actually no one here and I'm surprised. There's always a crazy lineup. They're gonna wash the inside because it's filthy. At least I hope they will. I'll let you guys know what happens. Okay, there is someone, so we can chat. Yes, my car, the back, absolutely disgusting, absolutely filthy. I had a protector for Maggie and I took it off. I forget why. I think people were sitting in my back seat at Christmas. Never put it back on and I regret it. It is disgusting, filthy. The car's moving. Oh, I gotta go. The car looks so much better. I feel like, oh my gosh, I feel so refreshed. Now the outside doesn't match the inside, but that's okay. They cleaned the seats, they cleaned the sides. I think they even cleaned in there. Oh my gosh, so amazing. And it was so quick. They cleaned the floor underneath and I got floor mats finally. I mean, oh my gosh, I've only had this car for 2 winters, but finally got the floor mats in. That's why I wanted to clean, because I wanted it cleaned before the floor mats go in. So yeah, everything is cleaned. I only did the inside because I can do the outside myself and it's just gonna get dirty again. But the inside was like, oh my gosh, it really needed it. Feels very resetting. I'm so happy. And it only cost me with tax and tip 25 bucks. So very much worth it. So incredibly worth it. Wow, really happy and really grateful that that got done. Okay, you guys. Oh, I'm like, am I gonna have to move? Shit, I have to go. Close call. I pulled into this parking lot where I'm very much not allowed to be, just to film this quick vlog clip. I brought some stuff for a donation. That was great. Brought it to a woman's shelter here in Montreal. So that felt good. Whenever it's just clothes, I bring it there because it goes straight to women in need. So that's great. And now I'm going to go drive downtown. I dropped off Maggie with the dog sitter and I decided I want makeup brushes from Sephora. That's what I had last time. They lasted me years and they were affordable. So I'm just gonna go do that again and pick up JS and then we'll be going to Ikea. This whole vlog is in the car. This is a car-centric vlog. So now they know we're gonna live together. Do you have anything to say?
Yeah, we need a new trash can.
That's why we're at Ikea. But are you excited?
Yeah.
Are you thrilled?
Thrilled, a bit stressed, but I think it's gonna be fun and ultimately for the better.
For the better, for the best.
For the better.
Yeah. We got Mandy's salad. We're really having out and about date night at Ikea.
I hate these bowls. I prefer the other.
This is mine.
The other ones.
I know, me too.
What? There's no utensils?
No forks.
Are you serious?
There's none.
What the hell? How are we supposed to ask?
I don't know. But we can just go eat inside in the cafeteria. They'll have forks.
You think?
That's so sketch.
It is a bit sketch.
We'll get some meatballs on the side.
Hello, Ramona. I can't shake the simplest feeling beyond the ghost. We stand on the opposite shore. Hello, Ramona. I reach through mysterious ceilings, my only hope. I look for the things I don't know.